Now let's get into our first discussion now. Transparency International says corruption in the military is affecting Nigeria's efforts to effectively battle Boko Haram.
A statement by the International Anti-Corruption Body says President Muhammadu Buhari's promise to tackle corruption and terrorism is being hampered by the lack of transparency in military contract awards. The group calls on the government to make its defense budget and procurement systems more transparent.
Now, but the military authorities have kicked against the report, and the military spokesman, Major General John Enenche, told a news conference at the defense headquarters that the report is false because the present dispensation of military leadership has established procurement branches that are guided by law.
He describes Transparency International report as a move to discredit the military.
Procuring new equipment, the same with Navy, Army injecting new resources into the operational area. We are rotating troops, and here is somebody coming up at the peak of these successes. That is why, as you asked rightly, I believe that there is something going on behind the scene. It may not be as sincere as the report looks, but that is subject to the court of public opinion.
All right, we have joining us now a Global Amnesty Watch assessor, Kwanum Terence. Thanks for joining us right now.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Nice to be here.
All right, let's kickstart this discussion this way. Kwanum, you've been monitoring. I remember we've discussed this issue here some time ago. You've been monitoring activities in the Northeast, the military, the media, and all of that. But this report from Amnesty International is very disturbing. How concerned are you when the military and the Amnesty International reports never agree?
You know, the issue that has come from the Transparency International at this moment is quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate because I feel so sorry for Transparency International to come this low in Nigeria, having built that kind of reputation for themselves, and coming to Nigeria to reduce themselves to be used by low-lives that have no reputation and credibility at all. Because, like you rightly mentioned, we have discussed this thing when the Amnesty International report came out. And I want to assure you that it is the same spirit that brought out the Amnesty International report, that is the same spirit that has brought out the Transparency International report. There is no Transparency International in Nigeria. The people they used to bring out this report is Sikla, headed by Awar Rafsanjani. Awar Rafsanjani is the chairman of the board of Amnesty International in Nigeria. He brought out a report that was condemned by the public domain. The report till now is still suffering in the media online. This report has been thrown to the trash bin. Now they don't have any way to come back and resuscitate the report. They have gone to
What report are you talking about?
The Amnesty International report. They brought it, Nigerians rejected it, it was thrown to the trash can. They have gone to Transparency International to now bring out the report that has the narrative of 2011 to 2015. Now even using the worst grammatical error by using the present past continuous tense, meaning that the narrative of 2011 to 2015 will affect the narrative of 2015 to 2017.
Do you know what the indices are for measuring either corruption or whatever it is they're looking out for? Do you know?
The methodology they even say they used for the report is only known to them. It is not in the public domain. We are all educated. We know the least methodology you can use for a report. They say their own methodology is only best known to them. And now you are using the methodology that is only known to you when even the report of the army by the Senate is in the public domain. The report of the House of Reps on the defense is in the public domain. You can't even use it as a reference. If the methodology is only known to you, then how are you going to make a reference on a report? Those are the issues. And it is quite unfortunate that this thing is coming when the international community has recommended the war
let's
on
look
terrorism.
at the allegations.
When the international community has, the allegations.
Let's look at the allegations of the report that because of corruption, the army don't get good equipment, which of course affect the training of the military men and of course the outcome. Please listen. And there are reports that sometimes a faction of Boko Haram insurgency always topple the Nigerian army because they have better artillery, better weapons at their disposal.
You know, we have gone past that stage. We have gone past the stage you're mentioning, because right now we have won the war. What we just have now is just pockets of Boko Haram. Boko Haram is not coming after the Nigerian army. The Nigerian army is going after Boko Haram. We have won the war. And the issue of saying that there is corruption, where is there no corruption? But they are talking about 15 billion US dollars. 15 billion US dollars was not given to any defense or any security agency within the time limit. So why will you embezzle what was not given to you? How are you going to embezzle that? This money they mentioned here, arithmetically, what they got is wrong. They were even talking of $15 billion, that is 4.6 trillion. It wasn't given to the defense. So how will you go and steal? Even if you look at the dynamics of what is happening in Nigeria, where everybody sees and believes that President Jonathan was corrupt, the military was corrupt at that time, even though those things happen, the acid test cannot even stand with this report, because those monies were not given to the army. Okay. And let me tell you what is worrisome about that report. All these issues they are mentioning are in the court of laws. You are aware that the Chief of Defense Staff, the National Security Advisor, everybody that had any dealings with the arms procurement is before the law court. So are they now preempting the decision of the courts already, or are they undermining the decision of our courts by going to bring such a report? Our Rafijani is just trying to ridicule organizations that are related to him and challenge him.
Colonel, let me put you on hold. We're going to come back to this. Let's go on a break. And we'll come back to dwell more on this, because this is so much of concern to Nigerians. We'll also go out on TVC Entertainment, and viewers there can continue with the program on DSTV channel 418 and GoTV channel 45, as well as Free TV 701.
Start times is the 270 and start times 307. Stay with us, please.
Let's get into our discussion. Quanum, it's good to have you on still. Now, let's get it back into this. Amnesty International coming up with this report, the way it has been discredited from the military and many Nigerians. But what is the interest, if we have to put it this way, what is the interest of Transparency International in coming up with a report like this?
You know, the simple intent of that report is to make sure that, to starve our military of arms, the international community will starve us of arms, so that we won't be able to fight this war. The people that are sponsoring people like our arms are people that don't want this war to end. And that is why at every time we have undermined and taking this war to a level that is about to end, they go bringing fictitious reports so that they will undermine our military. And you and I know that the military had issues with the Islamic movement of Nigeria. These are members of the Islamic movement of Nigeria trying to discredit, undermine the military before the populace. We know where they are coming from. But we want to tell them that we have pressed the button in the public domain that our Mumu don't do. These things will not work again in Nigeria. We cannot sit here, because if you look at the propositions and the recommendations, they are the same with the Amnesty International report. They are saying that the international community should withdraw their relations with the Nigeria. Are you withdrawing the relations when we have rescued our guests, when we have rescued over 12,000 people kidnapped by the Boko Haram, when there are no longer bombs and barricades in Abuja? Don't you remember in 2014 when even the IG's convoy cannot go into his office without being searched? We have gone past that stage. There are procurement directorates in the Nigerian military. So what are you talking about? All the military services are being advertised before the works are being done. We have passed the stage where accounts were being sent to the army and monies were credited. All these things we have passed that stage. So what is the intent of the report at this time if it is not just to undermine the Nigerian sovereignty?
Okay, you work for Amnesty. Do you
Global Amnesty what?
You work for Global. Tell me your last report on the issue of insurgency. What do you have in your report, your assessment so far?
We were in Maiduguri sometime in in April.
Yes.
Our assessors were in Maiduguri.
Yes.
After the UN came from the to the facilities and supervised, that is even before the transfer were made.
Yes.
And we brought out a report recommending the Nigerian military for the good job they have done. You know, if you have followed the manner we have followed, gone to the war front when these issues were so bad, when everybody was running, when every place was taken over, and then going back now when people are freely moving around and doing whatever they want in the Northeast, you surely recommend the Nigerian Army. This is an army that...
Recommend or commend?
Commend.
Okay.
Now, this is an army that, even as they're in the war front, houses are being built for them, for our troops. That is to tell you that confidence has been restored.
So your scorecard for the Nigerian Army
very excellent.
Is very excellent. I'd like to take you to the IDP camp issues and the issue of corruption and theft going on there. It might look a little bit smaller to the issue we are talking about, but corruption is corruption.
We have addressed the issue of the IDP camps here the last time I was here.
Yes.
If you go to the IDP camps and you look at the international organizations that are working in the IDP camps, nobody will tell you that anybody can go into the IDP camp and mess up. These are international reputable organizations.
We just
they
discussed,
are over 40.
Terence, please hold on. We just discussed this issue last week, and we had somebody from Borno State, and he indicted the Nigerian Army, those at least who are manning the IDP camps.
Somebody can come into your studio and tell you he's from Borno. The person will not be from there.
No, he is from there.
No, relax. I have been to the camps, not once, severally. I have taken relief materials myself to these camps. If you go to the camps, and the international organizations that are working there, you cannot go inside those camps and mess up. They will pull out from there. If you are in Merugui and you see the level these people are operating, they will tell you peace has returned. What they are doing now is rehabilitation. And you cannot go into where these people are working. These people have segmented the camps. They are being monitored. Their reports being given per shift. You know, they work for 6 hours, they shift to the next person. They are giving reports by this shift. So nothing can come and happen within this time that you say there's corruption. Corruption by who? Because these people are bringing their monies, they are managing themselves. So who is corrupt? Is it the international organizations? Because the military are just guiding the IDP camps. The military are not managing the IDP camps. The only business they have with IDP camps is that they make sure that they are safe. These people cannot come and penetrate. The last time they tried penetrating, 120-something were arrested.
So in that case, are you saying the report against some abuse within the IDP camps, where in fact we heard that some allegations against the military exchanging sex for food and all of that, all of those reports are wrong?
The Nigerian military are not even giving food to the IDPs. These organizations are the ones bringing their food and giving to the IDPs. If I take my food as an organization, the military can only screen me and open the IDP. I go inside. They are administrators for the IDPs. You understand? I relate with them. I hand over these materials to the emergency management agency. And then from there, hand it over to the IDPs, how they intend to share it. So I don't know where the military has come into this process.
Is it the point of permission, the entering and exit of the camp? So nobody goes in and out without the military knowing? Is that
because they're the ones guiding it.
Fine.
And
so
now
how do you...
the members, the IDPs are not going in and out. No, nobody is leaving the camp. The people coming to give the food are the ones going in and out, and the people working. So the refugees are not leaving the camp.
So the allegation
they don't need any permission for whatever reason. No. Everything, medical attention is given to them there, food is given to them there. They don't come to the gate out, they don't go inside.
All right, let's talk about the issue of transparency and openness when it comes to the operation of the military. We've seen sometimes where the military prefers to talk, Nigerian military prefers to talk with international media, even than local media sometimes. Do you feel that there's something wrong with that?
No, but we just saw a press conference that the...
Apart from press conference?
No, they do. The doors of the army are open. We relate with them. They now have, like we just discussed the procurement directorate, they have a human rights desk too. They relate with everybody. But they don't relate with the kind of fraud that took place during this Transparency International report, where they did a visual fraud, where they went to submit a letter to invite the Nigerian army to come and attend the report they wanted to present, and they now recorded it and said it was a fact-finding mission. How can you do a fact-finding mission within 24 hours and go and present the report?
Was that not the principle of fair hearing to invite the army?
No, you were supposed to come and find out the details you have gotten, and with the army. You exchange this information. They were even supposed to even invite other stakeholders to go through this report. because this involves a lot of people. I have done similar reports. I have involved all the stakeholders. Why are our reports not being attacked by the Nigerian people? Why is it that it's only report that comes from this source that wants to destabilize the Nigerian state? People want to run this country down, and we have passed that stage. You know, we were in this country at the point where the Iranian ambassador to Nigeria threatened the sovereignty of this country. We have passed that stage. That is the message we want to pass to our. He can never take us to that stage. The button has been pressed. The Mumuda do.
All right, but in all of this now, should we say that the Nigerian government or the Nigerian military should not, and the public should not accept the report by Transparency International?
If not for even the media we have, that report wouldn't have even, it's not supposed to see the light of day.
Why? Why
because
should the media
the whole report is a mess. You don't take a report of narrative of 2011 to 15 and want to come and apply it on the narrative of 2015 to 2017, when the narrative of 2015 to 2017 is a complete success.
It has to be in the public domain for us to examine.
What was happening to 2011? What was happening to 2011 to 2015 that the report could not even come out? Is it that this thing is the whole methodology is about collecting money from the people that want to run us down, sitting in a hotel somewhere in Abuja and bringing a report to the public domain? Is that the kind of report that we need? Where you're mentioning figures that never existed? Where you're even everything they mentioned in that report never existed. Okay, that is no reality. We know the realities of this country.
Report
you cannot come and give us the narrative of what we know.
The report also mentioned. Are we going on a break?
Yeah, let's go on a break and then we come back on this. We're still discussing with Quanum Terence. He is Global Amnesty Watch Assessor. We are discussing the report by Transparency International on the Nigerian military. And shortly, when we come back on from the break, we'll be bringing Colonel Hassan Stanlabo. He's a retired colonel of the Nigerian Army, so we can have other perspective to this discussion. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast.
Glad to have you back. You're watching TVC Breakfast, and we are examining the report by Transparency International alleging that the Nigerian Army is corrupt. We have with us in the studio a Global Amnesty Watch Assessor, Quanum Terence, and also joining us right now is a retired Colonel Hassan Stanlabo. Many thanks for joining us, Colonel.
Thanks so much.
What is your take on the issue of this report by Transparency International? Quanum wouldn't even have a word of it. What is your own take?
It should be thrown to the, what's it called, trash bin. In fact, just a few days back, I think this same organization, Transparency International, came up with this additional narrative that the report actually was not geared at the current leadership in the military, and that it was actually addressing the past leadership and so on. But I think whatever the damage they intended to bring to bear, you know, on the present leadership, I'm so impressed the way the military has been able to, you know, put it off. Like you rightly said, we have left the default mode in this country where we just sit down and international organizations will say any rubbish and will swallow it. Okay? Nigerians are far more intelligent than that. We are not some banana republic. You must do your homework very well before you confront us with allegations, or else we shall debunk them.
All right, Colonel, let me, we remember after the last dispensation, we had, there were reports and allegations and findings that former Chief of Defense Staff, Alex Badi, and some other military officials, some monies were missing, traceable to them. If we had that kind of precedence coming forward, would one not say that there could be some element of truth in some of these reports when they talk about corruption in the military?
Mike, that was in the last dispensation. Okay?
So
even if we're able to...
Is it possible to still have elements of those things currently?
This current leadership? Mike, no. And I know what I'm talking about.
Were the officers all sacked? Because that's the question. A figurehead was taken out of it. What about the other officers who are attached to these officers who are found culpable? They are still in the system, aren't they?
Well, maybe you don't understand the way the military operates. As a subordinate officer, you can only carry out certain actions if your boss is also equally consenting to it. Otherwise, you cannot. That is the way the military works. So when you see a corrupt boss, like we had in the last dispensation, down the line, individuals could be very corrupt. When you see a boss who is not corrupt, you can't dare do anything. Anything you attempt is at your own peril. And that is the leadership we have today in the military. Drawing from the integrity, flowing from the presidency himself, or from the president himself. Okay? When this new crop of leaders were selected in the military, I don't know if this was where I granted that interview. I said, look, whoever may have advised the president on the present crop of leadership in the military really did a good job. I said advise because given the huge gap between him and us, definitely as at the time he was in service, a good number of us were just mere junior officers and, you know, admiring him from a distance. So those who may have said, look, this gentleman, this gentleman, this gentleman will help you achieve your objective, really did a good job because of the crop of guys who have at the helm of affairs now.
All right, Quantum, let me come to you here. When, on the ideal basis, let's forget about this, the report now indicting the military of Nigeria or the controversy. When a report like this comes up by Transparency International, what is it really used for? What are the implications of reports like this?
You know, transparency, these international organizations, they are reputable organizations that most world leaders rely on their reports to take certain decisions. And that is why, if you remember in 2014, when Amnesty International brought up a report, the past president of America, President Obama, withdrew his ties completely from the issue of the war. You understand? It was because they rely on this report to take certain policy decisions. And it affected us then. You know, they are trying to do it now because President Trump has publicly said he's going to deal with us as regarding this war, sell arms to us and all that. But you know, the proclamation of the President of America will have to go through the Congress. So this report are just strategies to stampede.
Yeah, but just like you said, Colonel said, Mumu don't do according to you,
yes,
and the Nigerians won't take anything. I don't expect that the American Congress too will just take any
That
report.
is why we are out today condemning this report.
Please, let me, you don't think they will just take it just the way it comes? Because the report also mentioned that the money gotten, the ill money gotten, is being laundered in the US and the UK. You expect such countries to have a rejoinder. If that's not
that
the case,
is why we're even talking of the methodology.
You expect that the US
if you say I stole money in Nigeria and I took it to Dubai, and you indict me and don't indict Dubai, what kind of methodology are you using? How many of those countries do they mention we are taking the money to? Do they indict them? The thing is not supposed to be. The thing is not supposed to be only on me. It is supposed to be the person that accepted it. If I steal money and give you, you are a thief. So why are they indicting only us? And let me tell you, what they did was just, why I am saying that I'm so disappointed and I'm sorry for Transparency International is that the international law states clearly that you judge a man by his present disposition and not the past. And you cannot come, this is an international organization. So you should look at the report you're taking to the public domain. They have really ridiculed that organization. And I'm very sure that organization and the Nigerian, the people that are using Nigeria might have been having serious problems by now. It is a sorry that this thing is barbadized.
All right, Colonel, let me come to you on this. In a report like this, is it possible, a scenario where if Transparency International comes up with a report or have a finding, for them to sit down with the Nigerian army authorities to sit down and look at how the issues can be either verified between themselves first before it is made public, or if there are allegations or investigations need to be carried out for such to be carried out. Is it possible anything like that happens?
In the first instance, I expect that before a report like this comes out, while you are putting it together or while carrying out your investigation, you consult with all stakeholders. If I'm accusing you, I should be able to reach across to you and say, look, and hear your own side of the story. But nothing like that went on. You put your report straight across to create whatever the damages you want to impact on us. Okay? And like it is, we have turned down the report and we have been able to pick out some loopholes. Okay? And now, like they said last week, oh, it was not meant for the current leadership and so on and so forth. And they have also said that they intend to meet with the current leadership to explain to them what actually they are doing and so on. That is belated.
All right.
This could have come in while you were carrying out your investigations.
Okay.
So that you carry along the military leadership with you, or the Nigerian military with you.
All right. Something closely related to what we were talking about was Buratai came out last week and say armies should not, military men shouldn't get themselves involved in politics. And the governor of Rivers State responded and said, okay, don't attach military men to politicians. And that brings to the question, to mind the issue of military men hobnobbing with politicians. And in some ways, the issue of corruption rubs off on them easily. What's your take on that, Colonel?
The Chief of Army Staff did a very sound job to have come out with such warnings. If you cast your mind back to the Ekiti Gate scandal, I must tell you categorically, look, we should not in any way involve our military in our politics. The military should be isolated away from our politics. In fact, insulated, not just isolated. The military should be insulated away from our politics. The dire consequences of that is too severe, and I think we are matured enough to know what we mean by that.
No, we don't. Explain to us.
It's like the cat and the rat playing. They will play to a point till the rat will eat up the cat. I guess I've made my point.
All right. Now, Quanum, if we have to draw from that, the issue of corruption in the military, we know that the military has its own way of handling its own things internally. But at what point, when you're trying to say we are transparent, we are open, we are honest in our doings, at what point should the military decide to keep its activity within itself and also make the public also know how transparent they are? How do we reconcile
this present leadership of the Nigerian military is doing that perfectly well. And that is why the Senate were able to have access to their budget spending and bringing out the. It was the chairman of the army in the Senate, Senator George Akume, that came commending the military for their budget spending. It is because they did this thing and they made it public. I know they have a public procurement directorate that is making everything in the military public. They have a human rights desk that is even, you know, all their trials. For the human rights, they make it public most of the time. They go on live television. People know that the people that have complained about, they are being tried. Some are being court-martialed, some are being dismissed. This is in the public. All their jobs now, all the military jobs, if you go through the pages of the newspaper, you see them advertising their services. These things were never done before. You only needed to send your account and money was credited for a job that was not done.
Yeah.
These were the things that we have gone past that stage. That is why we are feeling so sad and looking at the intent, why this kind of reports keep coming up there and I know trying to undermine our sovereignty. And if there's anything that is being protected today by this present leadership in the country and the military, is the sovereignty.
Go over the issue of abuse, human rights abuse. You might have absorbed the military in terms of corruption. Or what about abuse?
I was just trying, it's the abuse that I was trying to address.
Yeah, so please.
There is a human rights desk in every unit of the Nigerian Army now. So if you see any issue that is affecting, abusing the human rights by an army, you only need to report to the human rights desk.
How long has those desks been created?
The desks, by April, they were celebrating their about 1 year, 6 months anniversary. It is this leadership that created the desk. It's being headed by a lawyer,
but
a captain, a
lady. Still, it's not the same year. Between last year and this year, there have been record of human rights abuses going on with the military, even with a civilian. Remember the man that was beaten, the physically challenged man that was beaten
from Ebonyi
State.
And you are not remembering that between last year and now, that so many military men have been court-martialed and dismissed from service, including the issue you mentioned. It was tried publicly. So you cannot.
Yeah, for that case, the army was very proactive.
Cannot commit a human rights abuse now and go free.
Yeah.
The period you are assessing, there is a lot of dismissals and court-martial that took place. At the point we even have to come out and even chide the leadership of the Nigerian Army that they are even going to the extreme trying to caution their military personnel beyond their normal practice. It was they're going to extreme to satisfy the populace. I know the army is an institution that must be protected. We had to even caution them because they were going too far.
All right, Colonel, we have to round off one way or the other, but let me hear from you. When it comes to some analysts have said that the military, even though they have the wherewithal and this expertise and skill, but they cannot succeed without the assistance of Nigerians themselves. When it comes to ensuring that the military performs its role, how should Nigerians support? How should Nigerians engage with the military?
Which of the role are we referring to?
Well, fight against terrorism, even in ensuring that the corruption that is being mentioned is stamped out within the military, if there is.
As far as the fight against, well, let me say Boko Haram, the populace could assist with enough information, which we get crystallized into intelligence eventually and use in the battle space. Okay? And for the rest aspects, there is what we call civil-military relationship. Through that platform, a lot of synergy could be forged between the military and the civilian populace, which avails the Nigerian population an opportunity to be of assistance to the military and vice versa, you know, and so on. And you know that through that platform, the military has been able to do a lot of things. You know what the Air Force has been doing in terms of medics in the Northeast and the building of houses by the Army and so on, teaching in primary schools by Army education officers, all sorts of things to see that the minds and hearts of the populace, you know, are one.
Okay. Colonel Hassan Stanlabo retired. Thanks for coming on the program this morning.
I really appreciate it.
And Quantum Terence, Global Amnesty Watch Assessor, thanks for coming on the program as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.